Some of y'all been worshiping since you was in high school, so you don't really know how to grind.
Really, the two things I want to say are, you got to be the hardest workers in the room, and don't f the opportunity up.
You can fucking achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
One thing in life, this applies to everything in life. Anytime you move from being normal to trying to be exceptional, people aren't gonna like that shit. Normal people, it makes them feel like shit. They're gonna judge you. And nowadays, it's very easy to be a coward. Why? We got Instagram and shit. Most folks don't tell you to your face. They go online, they post about like cowards. Don't let cowards get in your head. And last thing, make sure you do you. Stay hard.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago when you got raped. You should have quit 10 years ago when he walked out on you. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break me. You can't take me. I fought too long. I fought too hard. If I was going to quit Satan, you should have got me at 17.
We were put here for a reason. God created man, and God intends for us to love all mankind.
Everybody always talks about getting to the top. Everybody always talks about going after their dream, but nobody talks about retention, and the work that is required not only to get there, but to stay there and go to the next level. And so the mentality you're going to have if you're going to win, if you're going to conquer your day, conquer your week, if you're going to dominate the month, if you're going to crush the quarter, if you're going to win the year, I need you to remember that talent does not win championships, work ethic does. Here's the mentality you're going to need. That nobody's going to outwork you. I'm sorry, I love you, but you're not going to outwork me. I'm with you, but you're not going to outwork me. We're connected, but you're not going to outwork me. We can dream together, we can lean in together, but you're not going to outwork me. We may be in the same class, but you're not going to outwork me. Number one, I need you to have the made up and fully persuaded mind that nobody is going to outwork you. Stop sitting around moping and complaining and waiting for somebody to connect the dots for you. Put the work in and take the stairs to the top. You got to be willing to lose sleep to go after this dream. You have to be willing to lose sleep to graduate. You have to be willing to lose sleep to pass the exam.
So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'll say it again. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. The Egyptians tried it, and all they got was robbed. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors, some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money, some of you have patience, some of you have kindness, some of you have love, some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have?
You can't care what anybody thinks about you. If I care what people thought about me, you think I'd be yelling out here, doing a 105-pound ruck, talking shit, This is who I am. Find out who you are, whoever that may be. I don't give what you are. Find out who you are and own that motherfucker and tell people to go f themselves. Don't ever worry about anybody and what the f they think about you. You do that, I guarantee you, your life will be in shambles. You will become the biggest bitch of all time.
I need you to have a whatever it takes mentality. If you want to win, you're going to have to get upset sometimes. And I'm not talking about a non-productive anger. I'm talking about a massively productive disappointment. You're going to have to get disappointed sometimes with where you are. This is what I like to call proactive disappointment. I'm upset with where I am. I'm upset with what I have not accomplished. I'm upset at every time I've allowed myself to be distracted. Get upset. Get disappointed with yourself. There's a difference between disappointment and depression. You're not depressed. You're not down. You're not out. You're just disappointed. You're upset with the moments in your life where you allowed yourself to sink into depression, where you allowed yourself to become distracted. Get upset. Get flat out mad about where you are. Don't get mad to quit. Get mad to keep going. That's the problem, is that you have to rewire and redirect your anger. I'm not going to be upset and quit. I'm going to get mad and stay in it.
40%, most of us, you know, because we're half in and half out. And it's not surprising because life is difficult. It's like, well, what if you were 90% in or 95% in or all in? Because you're all in anyways, right? It's a life and death game. No one gets out of this. Everyone dies. You might as well commit yourself. You've got a life. It's hard, obviously. It's like 3 years from now, you can have what you need. You got to be careful about it. You can't have everything. You can have what would be good for you, but you have to figure out what it is, and then you have to aim at it. Well, my experience with people has been is if they figure out what it is that would be good for them, and then they aim at it, then they get it. And it's strange because they don't necessarily, it's a strange thing. It's not quite that simple because, you know, you may formulate an idea about what would be good for you, and then you take 10 steps towards that, and you find out that your formulation was a bit off, and so you have to reformulate your goal. You know, so you're kind of going like this as you move towards the goal. But a huge part of the reason that people fail is because they don't ever set up the criteria for success. And so, since success is a very narrow line and very unlikely, the probability that you're going to stumble on it randomly is 0. And so there's a proposition here, and the proposition is, if you actually want something, you can have it.
If you could fix procrastination, what would your life be like? You understand what I'm saying? People like E.T., I want to do what you do. No, you don't. I'm my own boss. When I worked at Michigan State, I had to be to work at 9 o'clock. When I work for myself, I get up at 3. When I worked at Michigan State, I get to leave at 5. When you work for yourself, you don't have no time when you get off. You don't get off. You stop when the work is done. I work harder for myself than I did and you talking about you want to work for yourself. No, you don't. You can't show up for another man. If you work for yourself, you'd be asleep all day. You'd be like, I work for myself. I'm good. I ain't even getting up today. You know what I'm saying? I'm just taking a day off. I'm just being real. There are those of you who work for yourself, you don't even have a plan. You don't even have like a vacation package for yourself. You just get to get off whenever you want to. What kind of job is that? You can just take off when you want to? That ain't no real job. You ain't got no insurance. You ain't paying yourself. But when you had a job, you could get there for them when they wanted you to get there. Oh, you had to tell them when you was going to be sick, when you want, but for yourself, you ain't got to do nothing. That's why you can't blow up. You ain't got enough discipline to discipline you.
Another reason why people hate change is because not only do they see change as pain, but all they see change is as failure. And it's because every time you've made a change, you have failed. And you have to start identifying change with a new layer of belief. I see change as transformation. I see change as evolution. I see change as beauty, brilliance. I see change as the future. I see change as necessary. I see that if I don't change, there is a generation of people who are going to be stuck in the same place. If I don't evolve, see, those of you who will evolve, who are willing to evolve, you will inherit the future. Those of you who are willing to take everything you do to the next level. It is the individual who is willing to become more than what they have ever been. See, the marketplace rewards those who have evolved. The marketplace rewards those who have become more valuable. You will be rewarded for the pain. Cry in secret, bleed in secret, but in public you'll be rewarded. I want you to start looking back over all the times you made a change and you failed. Confront that pain. See, change is inevitable. And you are either changing for the worse or changing for the better. You decide. People tell me all the time, it's hard to get wealthy. It's hard to grind. It's hard to be focused. How do you even do these speeches? It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to stay broke. It's hard to stay depressed. It's hard to stay governed by anxiety. It's hard to be inconsistent. It's hard not to have daily disciplines. It's hard not to believe in yourself. It's hard to be poor. It's hard. It's all hard. So choose your heart. You either gonna work for it, you're gonna sit there and let life knock you down and dare you to get back up. So I see the privilege. I see the moment. I see the purpose and the pain. Change is an invitation to the future. If I can change, I can have my future. Destiny is calling even now. I want to speak to you from the topic, change. Because many of you listening to me have been beautifully equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. But I want to give you a new word for change, and that word is evolution. And you are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationships changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically. I know that when you apply this new word to change, everything transforms in your life. No longer see it as change. As we examine your life, many of you listening to me, everything that came with change left a bad taste in your mouth. Every time you made a change, you got hurt. And so this is why when you hear the word change, there is a mental block. You cannot change because you have equated change with pain. Every time you have changed, you feel pain. You stepped out of one relationship to another and you feel pain. You leave one neighborhood to another and you feel pain. You go from one job to another and you feel the fire of transition. So every time you hear the word change, you see pain. Every time they say it's time to make a difference, every time they say you need to go from this place to that place, all you can see is blood in your eyes, hypnotized by the pain of change. But I want to help you see change differently today. Let's call change evolution. And those who are willing to evolve will inherit the future. See, change is not pain. Evolve your belief system. See change as growth. See change as transformation. See change as evolution. See change as necessary. See change as critical. See change as inevitable. And the more and more you start to see that change is not pain, you're going to see transformation. Your life's going to experience a quantum leap because now your history is not your destiny.